Welcome back, folks, to the Stockwell Eldridge Show. I'm Jason Stockwell, Remax Results.
I'm Dawn Eldridge. Remax Results.
You got to check us out on YouTube if you haven't got a chance to, people. Go to the Stockwell Eldridge Show, or just Stockwell Eldridge on YouTube. You'll find our shows, past shows, current shows. You can put a face with the voice.
Yeah.
And
we have a lot of fun on our shows.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you ever want to be a guest on the show, or you ever know anybody who would be a great guest, or you want to, do something, call us and let us know, or shoot an email in, or let us know, or go onto our Facebook page, and you can do that as well.
As long as they're not too much smarter than us, though, right? I mean,
no, we're
kind of pushing the envelope with Nate. So
I'm just kidding. That's what I said. Nate's really raising the bar here, using all these words and phrases that we.
We're like, what?
Wait. Takes a little time to absorb.
You know what it is? I'm used to hearing Trump now, so it's really simplified, the language and all that. And I'm like, it's basically the dumbing effect. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's a joke. That was a joke. No, it's simple, though. I like it. It's clear cut, and it's decisive, and it makes sense.
When you say, waiting for all the things to come, I'm just waiting for him to go gray and start losing his hair. Like, I'm really curious as to...
Trump will never lose his hair, and he will never go gray. That he will be that way.
And he'll always stay tan.
Yeah.
Well, he'll keep dyeing his hair, but, I mean, you can only look at every president.
Definitely. He's said over and over again that's all natural.
I know, but look at every president. You can't deny it. I mean, even Reagan with the beautiful...
Did you see Jimmy Fallon play with his hair at the end of the
I saw
show?
that. That was great.
I thought it was all going to fall off, and it stayed on.
Yeah, it is real, but I was surprised he could get his fingers through it with all the
Donald
stuff.
Trump was on Jimmy Fallon.
It was his last act as a non-president.
Yeah, and Jimmy Fallon, so Jimmy Fallon went in and took his fingers and went like that and foofed his hair.
It blew everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, wow.
I'm going to have to...
And Trump
just was a good YouTube.
And Trump just sat there. I mean, he didn't
Did he laugh?
No, he didn't. He didn't laugh. He was very.
But he just said it's real or something.
He was probably relieved it stayed on too.
He was very statuesque about it. He just sat there with that kind of smirk on his face, and then they went to commercials. So then I'm sure he had time to.
It is. It's like it's politics. It's like a lot of the working world's soap opera. You know what I mean? It's kind of, isn't it? I mean, it's all drama. It's like our
Real
sports.
Housewives of Orange County.
Yeah, it's like our Real Housewives.
And at least Steve Harvey got the Miss Universe name right.
This year he did.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to purposefully say it wrong, just as a joke. But that might have been a little too much. Yeah,
the Miss Philippines came out and gave him a pair of cheaters, and he waited about 5 minutes before he announced the name. I'm sure they were chirping in his ear, make sure you say this name, say this name, say this name. But anyways.
But it is. It's like the Super Bowl or sports and things. I mean, it's like a game, right? I mean, there's winners and there's losers, and there's consequences on both sides.
Well, that's what life's about.
Yeah. No, I agree. It is, and that's why when you lose, it hurts really badly. The more invested you were in it, it hurts really badly, and that's why I think you're seeing a lot of backlash and protests.
And I think kind of on even a little side note, I wasn't there yesterday, but it was Banker Day at the Capitol, and so a lot of our senior leaders from Wells Fargo were at the Capitol and talking with their local. State representatives and so forth, and just talking about how much regulation there really is in banking and in real estate and mortgage. And to me, I think, all of us agreed, like, we really put our customers through a lot because of this regulations, and people are so frustrated. I mean, you talk about getting qualified to buy a house and people just don't understand. And it's not us at Wells Fargo. It's this government regulation that we just cannot get around.
Whenever I do extensive signings, people say, what am I doing, buying a house?
Right, yeah, because there is so much, and every year, I'm sure you guys can attest to a purchase agreement. I mean, how many more pages are added to the purchase agreement every year, which again, full disclosure, we want to help protect the consumer and so forth. But
one of the elements to a contract is it has to be voluntarily entered into, and knowingly and voluntarily entered into knowing is a way to modify voluntary. And when you have someone just signing form after form after form, what kind of charade is that?
Right. Well, and it is. Again, it's
that's
all the requirements that we put our customers through. I mean, it's not, again, we want fair and responsible lending. We're absolutely all for that. But some of the requirements that are in place make it really difficult. I know we've talked about appraisals before and how tight that regulation is. And for, we need to be able to communicate. And they put so many restrictions on. We cannot talk to it. We have to talk to an appraisal management company who has to call the appraiser, who has to call the manager.
It's a classic problem of government and probably of everything in life, even parenting maybe and things like that and teaching. But you have a problem, something happened, major disaster called the recession, right? Major issues, right? So we got to correct this. Mm-hmm. And then everybody's got their idea on how to correct it. And then think of it as a clock or a pendulum, right? You went way bad, and that's what caused the problem. So now you got to correct, but you don't bring it to the square. You bring it way over and overcorrect. And now, hopefully, it doesn't go back and swing too far the other way where it's too loosely regulated. There's a balance, and there's some, and it's you got to have it where it works for people. And yes, people are going to be inconvenienced, certain, that don't be with regulation, but you don't want total no regulation because we saw what happened then, or basic no regulation when we had the crisis. So you gotta find the balance, and that's why you need smart people in the legislature and around there in the economy, figuring it out and putting something in place that's actually going to work. That's not going to cause the crash again. We're okay. We're going to have a recession again, folks, at some point, right? It's just the nature of our economy, but minimize that, right? Make it so it's a shorter recession or a little recession, not a massive drop. And
the only good thing that came out of that recession, as far as I could see, was the movie The Big Short. I thought that was terrific.
Oh, amazing movie.
It was.
And it shows that there's people out there that know
every opportunity.
Brilliant. Yes, it's like the quote. What is it?
That quote, that's exactly it.
In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. That guy, and no one believed him. I love that movie.
Right.
He's like
that's America.
Studying it like crazy, and he's like, no, and he's like, this is, and it was all being propped up. Because all the math, all his calculations showed that it was going to happen.
Deeper and deeper.
But then they kept burying it and burying it and burying it. Whoever they are, the banks and the government or whatever.
Stephanie.
I don't know.
Right. No. I know. We weren't portrayed the best in there. Actually, they never actually said the WF.
No, yeah, you actually did.
We were one of the only ones that were not mentioned in the movie.
That's true.
Yes, that is fact. But yeah, and I think it was kind of funny. Yeah, the one part where the two guys he was like, I don't understand. Why are these guys incriminating themselves? And he's like, they're not. They're bragging, And yeah, it's unfortunate. I did work with some of those people.
If you haven't seen the show or the movie, it's great. The Big Short. I would watch it.
I think even the part two, the woman that worked at.
It's sad. Granted, there are very sad parts of it. The recession was horrible, but I'm just saying the movie, the way they portrayed and everything.
And I think what I liked about it is they explained it. Yeah, they put it in the layman's, for the everyday consumer to really understand what happened. Yeah. What was this housing bubble? What it mean? But even the woman who was portrayed from Standard & Poor's or Moody, the people that do the rating, the bond ratings.
Yes.
And she said, if I didn't do it, somebody else was going to. And that's right.
So it's a snowball disaster.
But sometimes the consumer drives that. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to give me this price, so then fine. Walmart or Kmart or Target, if you don't give it to me, I'm going to go somewhere else and get it cheaper.
But if you were alert, I had to wash my mouth out with soap 2 days after that movie. My language was terrible for a while. But
it's a pretty rough show. Another show, not that we're going to just sit here and talk about movies and shows, but if you haven't watched any of it, and if you are involved in this organization, I'm not dissing it in any way. I'm just saying watch this show and you'll learn a lot about what's going on. Is the what's her name? Leah Remini.
Oh, Leah Remini.
Leah Remini. She used to be on a show with another guy, and they were married, and they were, what's the name of the show she was on? He's an actor. She's obviously in the King of Queens. The King of Queens. She was in Scientology, and she's doing this massive documentary on exposing Scientology. So if you haven't seen that, I'm hooked. I'll DVR that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the next week to watch it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, she wrote a book, and now she's out on a tour. And
mind-blowing.
Well, and I think, like you said, it's not that we're, our opinions or whatever, like The Big Short. Obviously, I work in one of the big banks, and we weren't portrayed. But I think exactly the quote again, discussing the opportunities is where there were people that exposed it. So, and unfortunately, in every industry, there's going to be somebody that's not going to do the right thing. But I think what was good is in that movie and probably with Leah Remini, it's just to help people understand, what is, what's going on, buyer beware, what to be aware of and so forth. And that's why going back to trusting an expert, whether you need legal help, with Nate or coming to Wells Fargo. I mean, we are so regulated, trust me. I don't even know how we could miss crossing a T or dotting an I on anything anymore, you know? And same thing, you guys have been in the business for so long, you know, and I'm sure you've said it, sometimes people don't agree with your opinions or thoughts, but you're just being real and honest. You know, you're just looking out for the consumer, because you don't get paid if they sell the house or not, it doesn't matter. You don't get paid until it sells. So why, you know, if you're giving them some advice they don't want to hear, you're just trying to, you know, help them
and I'm working with
get
people,
their end goal.
And we're working with people now where they're debating on even moving. Well, I'm said, hey, don't then. I mean, you know, stay there for a while, and then when you're ready, we'll do it, you know. But we're laying all the numbers on the table now. And not to force people to move now, but folks, it hasn't been a better time.
But understand, the opportunity. I understand the opportunity. Absolutely.
You know, you got to. So if you are considering it, you might want to consider now, as opposed to later, because we don't know what 2019 has in store, or 2018, and all that stuff, especially with interest rates. So, with that. We'll be back with more. I'm Jason Stockwell, Remax Results.
And I'm Dawn Eldridge, Remax Results.
Thank you, Nate Nelson with Mesley & Kramer, and thank you, Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo. We will be back for the action-packed last segment. You don't want to miss it.